Beautiful. Here we go. Well, hello, and welcome to the Rock Metal Podcast. I am your host, John Harris. Today on the Rock Metal Podcast, we have Concrete Kingdoms, and they've just released some new singles. Right now, I'm being joined by double Mark twice, Mark, and Grant, he's just Grant. To share some more information about a couple of tracks, a bit of a resurgence as we were chatting about in the pre-roll before we hit record. Wow, what the band has been up to, what they've got planned. So, boys, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us. It's exciting to be part of such a good show. So far away from us here in Scotland.
Well, kind of. I mean, Canada is kind of like another Scotland. We have Nova Scotia.
Yeah, you've got Scotland in here, I suppose. Yeah, that's there.
Well, what we were told is Nova Scotia means New Scotland. And now that I think about it, maybe it's not Gaelic. Maybe it's like Latin or something. But we definitely have people who live in like Newfoundland, PEI, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, like that part. We call them Maritimes. And I swear you meet some people and they sound like they're actually from Scotland or Ireland, depending on where they live.
Yeah, I remember being out in Canada. I stayed with some people out in probably the other side for where you are, and just near Toronto in a wee town called Milton. And I was very surprised to see how much Scottish food they had in the supermarkets out there. There's obviously a big contingency out there.
Beautiful. All right. Well, it's time to play then, boys. So, something we chatted about in the pre-roll, because I was looking at the music video for Time to Play, and I thought to myself, okay, well, this song came out a couple of years ago. So I guess take us through the marketing plan with Time to Play, and then, of course, Die This Day. What is the plan, and what are these tracks about, or I guess maybe why using these tracks at this time?
I think we started off with Time to Play as the lead track. It was our first ever single we released as we were known as Concrete Kingdoms. The band had existed a couple of years before myself and the other Mark joined to play guitar. And that was our first debut single. We brought out Time to Play, where we just really wanted a heavy-hitting song to bring out to people that, it was easy for people to listen to. It was catchy, and kind of put our names back out there into the music world as a five-piece. So certainly it served us very well. It's been played in radio stations across the world, and it served us really well. And the Time to Play fizzled out a little bit. We worked really hard on the music. Die This Day was part of that batch of music, and our plan is to we're obviously releasing Die This Day just now, but the bigger plan is this is a taster or a refresher, whatever way you want to look at it, for the next bigger single we're due to record next week, which we'll keep under wraps of what it's going to entail, but it's going to be good when we get it out there.
Okay. Now, the interesting thing is that even though there's a bit of time in between these two tracks, Time to Play and Die This Day, or at least just the way it shows up on YouTube, I don't get the gist that it's a different band. So, I mean, I guess the question is, what were you guys looking to create when you guys got together to make this EP?
I think we were probably, because the lineup had very recently changed when we were doing the EP, so I think we wanted to really show people what more of what the existing three members had experienced as a change in the music. There was only the four of them before me and other Mark joined. So I think, I don't know, Grant, if you can attest to that, if you saw a big difference when we first started.
It was the new song with the new lineup was kind of it was like a consolidation of the old stuff with the old members, but also trying to push in a new direction with new things we could do. And it just it came at the right time where it brought the good from the old with the good from the new. And we just kind of tried to evolve on that. and we've tried to kind of reciprocate that same sentiment with the rest of the new stuff. So yeah, the old lineup was important in starting things, but 2 new members, that's 40% of the band. It pushes you all in a different direction, and we've all kind of warmed to that quite quickly, I think, as Mark was saying earlier about all the new material that we managed to write. So yeah, just part of the natural progression, I would say.
And I guess my question is, 2 new members, what did they bring and how did that change the dynamic?
Well, to put it quite simply, one of them brought a guitar. And secondly, the new sort of direction with the vocals, it's worked in our favour with what we're trying to get with the new material. So yeah, it's been kind of strange in a way that the band has existed in some capacity before, but to have that new singer in, we can almost tailor things around to his strengths, and I certainly feel like we've done that with the new material.
Okay, so basically, from what I understand, Time to Play, you guys release that single, release that music video, and then Die This Day is also part of the EP. But I guess why wait to release a music video a couple years later?
So we did actually have the video for Die This Day up 2 years ago, but there was a problem with YouTube and we had to re-upload it just this year. That's why the video is showing up as a few weeks ago, having come on, but it was actually done back when the EP was coming out. It was just we had to put it back up again.
Okay. Now, then I guess my next question is, you guys mentioned you got some new material that you're going to be coming out with. So, bending on the EP from 2018 to regain some resurgence, I guess my next question is, why not just wait a little bit longer and come out with a new single just as its own, as itself?
Yeah, I certainly think talking to our management at Forge, we've had a lot of conversations about the kind of best way to approach this, because we've been quite quiet on the scene for about a year, obviously with what's going on with COVID and stuff like that. But the kind of bigger plan was we wanted to get music out there as soon as possible. We've been itching to really get some new music out there for a long time, and things have happened so fast in the last few months that it's going in a direction for us that we feel, we'll release a couple of singles, and then we'll think about an EP or album as a bigger scale of things. But right now, if you go onto your Spotify, you hear Time to Play, you hear Die This Day, and along with a couple other tracks from the EP. But this new music, hopefully, a big term that we've kind of used recently is we've evolved the music to the extent, like certainly as a vocalist, I've worked really hard on my higher range of vocals, and that certainly comes through in a lot of the newer tracks. And certainly the guys have become so much more tighter in the riffs and the music that's getting created that we're just desperate to get something out there right away so people can see the evolution that we've came through, but also to make sure that this year we can still progress even with not being able to perform live.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned something there about this year putting things on hold and not being able to perform live. So my big question is kind of a basic question, a big brush stroke is, how has COVID-19 affected what Concrete Kingdoms was planning to do this year? And with that, have you guys turned it into a blessing, or was it a blessing in disguise already?
I think there was a big catalyst involved. COVID started around March. We played a couple of gigs at the start of the year. We had a plan of what we wanted to do a bit more touring, certainly release some more music as the year progressed. But what COVID has taught us is that although we're a couple of hours drive away from each other here as well, although we're all in Scotland, we've had to adapt the way we communicate with each other. And the way we kind of talk about music because you don't have that physical aspect. I think we've literally had one practice since March. We're locked opened, we got to practice and they closed it again. So, but the good thing about it was that music talent was still there in that one session. And that energised us to say, do you know what, we can still make this year a success. And we spoke to our new management at Forge and we got a plan pretty quick in place, having been re-energised and seeing that we don't need to let this stop us and we can still release a lot of good music in the meantime. And next year we'll go out bigger and better on the live scene.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Now, it sounds like there's some plans that are coming down the pipeline. Are you guys able to get together and practice now? I've heard that there are some newer lockdown restrictions.
Yeah, I think the big thing for us, and I'm pretty sure the other guys are excited as me, the next time we see each other is when we turn up at the studio next week to record our next track. We're in the studio for 2 days with our producer, and we're going to bring those tracks to life over those 2 days. But what's going to be strange is we've already been given measures of what's going to happen on the day. So when you're recording your pieces of music, it can be quite an individual job. One guy Grant will do his drums, Mark will put down his guitar, and then I'll put down vocals onto pretty much the finished track. But we need to turn up with masks, and when somebody's recording, we can't be in the same room. We're going to lose that little aspect of it. So that will be strange from a recording perspective. But yeah, we're certainly determined for that not to affect the music and still produce the final result we're after.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned working with a producer. Did you guys work with a producer on the EP, or is that self-produced?
It's the same guy we're going with again. So it's he did such a good job the last time with us that we just thought, we'll just go with him again. I don't think we would do very well on our own if we just tried to do it in a sort of a DIY situation. We wouldn't be able to get it nearly as good as this guy's got it before.
Mm-hmm. I guess my question then is, a producer is such an interesting topic. What does this particular producer bring? Is it almost like having an extra member of the band? Is it just like a wisdom situation, like a Mr. Miyagi? He's going to show you guys the way. Like what happens when you guys get together with this producer?
Well, when we first approached him, he hadn't ever really done like a rock band like us, sort of more hard, sort of alternative rock. It was more sort of like indie rock. That he'd worked with before, but the way that the sort of things that he suggested for us and told us, oh, this would be a good idea, or oh no, that wouldn't really work. You wouldn't think that he'd never worked with a band like us before. And the studio setup that he's got is very organised. The way that he can do it, so you can literally do a song in a day, which is what he tries to do. But he does, and you get all those songs that are on the EP on Spotify, they were all done in a day. So that's the sort of finished article, and just shows how professional his environment actually is as well.
Okay, perfect. How many tracks are you guys doing over the 2 days? How much time do you guys have? Probably like 2 10-hour days, yeah?
Yes, slightly less than 10, I think, each day. I think it's about 9 till 5, I think, we're in. And we'll be basically, the plan is to get 2 tracks done in the 2 days. But we'll probably do, all the drum parts on the first day for both songs, and just work it from there. And then, just get, it gives us more time to tailor the sort of guitars and the vocals, so we can sort of emulate what we have live, so we can actually get it, coming out in the studio version as well.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, boys, one of the other questions that I wanted to ask, and we were kind of touching on this for a second, what is the plan, I guess, from here on out? You're going to go into the studio, going to do some recording. what is the plan from there? Is it kind of like COVID still going on? We're going to continue doing online stuff, and if so, what does that look like? Or are you guys going to hopefully wait for coronavirus to be over with before presuming? What does it look like?
I think we've already got a potential gig booked for next year, I'm sure. A sort of mini festival. I think we're wanting to try and do some sort of live streaming stuff, so we can actually do some sort of performing again. It's just trying to work out the logistics of that at the moment, to see if we can all do it on the one stream or if they have to come in at different times. But we have over the past couple of months done like a Q&A session and a sort of just a general sort of live chat with people, which I think was quite successful. So I think that it will be a lot of virtual interaction, I think, for the next few months. But, if gigs are being booked for, May next year, it would be good to get back out gigging if we could. But for now, I think we're planning on keeping a virtual presence as much as we can.
Yeah, I think a big part of that as well is, right now, with us being in Scotland, there is no live events going on at the moment. Okay, there might be one or two going down round about England, as they're a wee bit further on from ourselves, but really, realistically, people that are close to us are saying, you could be quite easily July next year before anybody considers booking bands, because they don't want to book it and then it doesn't happen. There's a lot of money to be lost that way. But certainly from our side, our big plan is to release a couple of singles, get our name back out there. We've re-energised ourselves. We just created a new logo as part of that relaunch that we've been doing. So we're busy creating a new range of merchandise, creating the music, so that when it comes to the point that we can go and perform live again, then we're ready and people will know the sound that we're trying to give them, and they'll know the songs. That's certainly the big thing, so we can hit the ground running.
Okay, very cool. Something you guys mentioned was like a live Q&A type thing. Are you guys doing live streams or live acoustic sets or anything like that as well?
I think we're certainly, it's new to us all. If you listen to our music, there's a lot of electronics going on with the guitars. We're a 5-piece, and it's very loud to try and condense that into a speaker. I think one thing that we're cautious of doing is trying to give a sound and then it doesn't come off. So right now what we're trying to do is play around with sounds, investing in some new equipment, to trial that and see if we can condense the sound into that quality that we want. But I know, certainly talking to our management, one of the big plans that they've got, if people can't attend gigs, we'll bring gigs to them. If it's hiring out a venue, we'll go for a day and we will record a set as if you were at the front row of that crowd, and then give you that experience so that when you can come and see us live, you'll know what you can expect.
Okay. Very, very cool, boys. Well, I believe that concludes all of my questions. We chatted about Time to Play, Die This Day. Music videos are available on today's show notes, www.therockmetalpodcast.ca. We chatted about how this year has been going, what the plans are going forward. Excitedly enough, you guys are working with the same producer to work on some new material. And you guys have making best use as you can of the internet to engage fans and to keep the career going, which I can't imagine, starting a band today, right now, as easy as it seems. So I'll just use the internet. Easy to say, I guess you could say, considering most of the model is like, okay, we're going to go play shows now, but you can't. So yeah, I believe that answers. Yeah. Unless there's anything that I missed that you guys wanted to chat about, I just wanted to thank you for coming on to the Rock Metal Podcast today.
Yeah, we want to thank you for inviting us on. It's always great to talk to new people that we can build an audience with. And if anyone wants to just go and check us out, we're on all the usual socials. You can find us at Concrete Kingdoms UK for our Facebook, and keep your eyes open and your ears open for what's coming next.